Hey guys and gals, this is Tyler, aka True Tactics 2, here with another commentary for you. Today, I'm going to discuss the T-90 main battle tank. Now, before I begin discussing the history of this tank, I would just like to thank my younger brother Zach, aka True Tactics 1, for some of the gameplay that they used in this video. Many of you know the T-90 from popular culture, including video games such as the Arma series, Battlefield series, and Modern Warfare 3. Now, the T-90 is the current main battle tank of the Russian army. During the height of the Cold War, the Soviet army had enjoyed the prospect of fielding two main battle tanks at the same time. This began with the T-64 in 1963. This was eventually complemented by the T-72 in 1971. Both tanks featured an auto-loading 125mm smoothbore main gun. The T-64 was designed as the high-tech primary MBT for the Soviet Union, while the T-72 was designed as a cheaper MBT that was more for exports. However, the T-72 would gain a larger legacy because it was very successful in the export market, whereas the T-64 was mainly limited to Soviet territory due to its state secret status. The T-64 would then go through a modernization process and would be redesignated as the T-80. The T-80 featured many of the popular qualities that were used in the T-72. The T-80 would enter service in 1976 and would become the primary MBT of the Soviet Union until its collapse in 1991. With this collapse, the Russian military fell into a period of low morale and limited spending. This meant many projects were shelved indefinitely or outright canceled. Because of this, the Russian government began to question the merit of producing and fielding two different tanks at the same time. The solution was to develop a modernized form of the T-72, which would also implement some of the key features of the T-80. To do this, the fire control system of the T-80 was combined with the frame of the T-72. The design would retain the same auto-loading system, as well as the 125mm gun. This prototype would then be designated as the T-88. A new engine was then chosen, and was capable of 830 horsepower. The resulting tank would be designated as the T-90. Low-rate production began in 1993, with full production starting in 1995. As with the T-72, the T-90 had a very low profile. This is because of its two-man turret, which housed the commander and the gunner. As with previous Soviet-designed tanks, the T-90 is able to fire guided anti-tank missiles from its gun. These can be used not just to engage ground targets, but also aerial targets. Secondary armament consists of a coaxially mounted PKT 7.62mm machine gun, and a 12.7mm NSV or cord heavy machine gun is mounted on top of the turret. Also mounted on the tank are two banks of 6 smoke grenade launchers. Additionally, a secondary smoke screen alternative is available by injecting diesel fuel into the exhaust. This was a long-time staple of previous Soviet-made tanks. The T-90's armor is composed of a mixture of composites and steel. Export versions of the original T-90 were designated as the T-90E, and the command variant was designated as the T-90K. The first major variant was the T-90A, which was fielded with a V92 diesel engine, and the ESSA thermal viewing device, and a welded turret assembly. This model was also offered for export, and was designated as the T-90S, and the command variant was designated as the T-90SK. Then, in 1996, the T-90 underwent a modernization process, with the addition of relict ERA protection and a new composite armor. The design also incorporated a new main gun, new turret assembly, a new V96 diesel engine, and a new thermal imaging device. This would enter production as the T-90MS. The max speed of the T-90 is 40 miles per hour, and it has an operational range of around 430 miles. Overall, the T-90 weighs 52 tons. Along with the regular T-90, the Russian Army also used the T-90 chassis to build other systems. These would include the BREM-72 Armored Recovery Vehicle, the BMR-3 Mine Clearance Vehicle, the MTU-90 Bridge Laying Vehicle, and the IMR-3 combat engineering vehicle. The T-90 would first see action during the Second Chechen War, when they would participate in the invasion of Dagestan. Having learned from their mistakes in the First Chechen War and the poorer performance of the T-80, they sent the T-90 into battle with an integrated anti-missile defense system, as well as well-armed support forces. Armor protection was deemed as excellent, as the T-90 sustained direct hits without any substantial losses. In fact, according to the Moscow Defense Brief, one T-90 was hit by 7 RPG rockets, but remained in action. The result of the Second Chechen War was a Russian victory that did much to re-establish the image of the Russian army. The T-90 is also available for export. Besides Russia, 4 other nations operate the T-90. These are Algeria, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, and India. Well, that brings an end to this commentary, guys and gals. I hope you liked it, and as always, this has been True Tactics 2, signing off.